sorceress, and one is an angel, and then one is extraterrestrial, and still extremely intelligent and extremely courageous. And she's really ready to fix the whole planet. So, oh yeah, and then I saw her in another dimension too. And I wanted to thank Alice for her very much. I want to thank everybody very much. If I were to express as much gratitude as I have, all I'd be doing is saying thank you from now until the next 10 years. So, and then Dennis DeAugustine. Dennis DeAugustine was the leader of a motorcycle gang, and he was the lead mechanic in one of the shops that I worked at. And I would never imagine, I could never, before I understood the different dimensions and doppelgangers and angels and stuff like that, but Dennis DeAugustine became a very courageous angel. And it was just so spectacular to see the way that Dennis evolved, because at the last dimension I came from, he didn't have too much, he was more about war and guns and fighting and stuff like that. And then when I seen him evolve in this dimension and became an angel, it took my breath away to see how someone could evolve into such a spectacular being like that. It was really incredible. Patrick Thompson is a lineman that I worked with in the IBW, and we became really good friends. And then he died in the other dimension. But he's still here. He's in this dimension. He's very much alive. He's huge. And what really needs to happen is I need to create a clear, direct, honest line of communication with all of these doppelgangers. But and then Serge Paporin. Serge Paporin came from Russia, and he got citizenship here in the United States, and he joined the IBW, and he was my apprentice. And when I was going through high school, they were teaching us all the sorts of stuff about about Russia and Russians and da-da-da-da, and I ended up joining the military because Russia's gonna get us. But then when I expanded my consciousness, got past judging, and then knew Serge, and he became a wonderful friend of mine. Then I realized everything they taught me in school about the war and how bad people are. I mean, people in Russia are spectacular, and and then Serge also, he actually became a different nationality. I met 3 different versions of him. One is German, and in the dimension I came from, he was born in Russia, and then I met 3 different versions of him in this dimension, and one is German, and one is Puerto Rican, and one is a white guy. And then also I went to, projected my consciousness to another dimension and met him there too. Jordan Maxwell, who is part of this course, who I actually knew, I never met Jordan Maxwell in the dimension I was born in, but I did meet his doppelganger in the dimension I was born in. And then here I met 2 of Jordan Maxwell's doppelgangers, and really, just a spectacular thing. But he became an angel and an extraterrestrial, I believe, and that's just what. And this is just, I'm not positive about this stuff, because I would need the help of all the doppelgangers to prove. The reason why I'm saying I think they became a sorcerer or an angel. Like, sometimes I ask them, and sometimes they say, okay, yeah, I am. But most of the time when you're dealing with it, when you're talking to an angel and you ask them if you're an angel, most of the time they say, I don't know, I'm not sure. So, and then Ivy West was the woman that I rented a room from in the last dimension, and in this dimension I met 2 of her, and she is a really spectacular. She became a spectacular angel, extremely courageous, and I wanted to thank Ivy for everything that you've done for me and helping me become more aware and for everything. I could thank Ivy for a very long time for a lot of the things that she helped wake me up to. James Hart, the creator of the Bio-Cybernaut Institute. Now, I never met him in the last dimension, but in this dimension I met 3 of them, and then I projected my consciousness to another dimension where I met 15 of them, about. And I'm just going to share this story because this was one of the most spectacular things I've ever experienced. But he was, Dr. Hart was training other doctors and other versions of himself. So it was Dr. Hart and then about 15 of his doppelgangers around, and then one of his doppelgangers got on a table and laid down, and then Dr. Hart was able to go up and work with an energy field that surrounded the body of this being, and he was able to actually look, and when you look at him, you could see him looking at an energy field that surrounded the body, not looking at the physical body, but looking at an energy field around it. And then he would go and manipulate that energy field, and he was able to extract every single emotion from this being by not even touching the being, but manipulating the energy field. So he would pull out anger, and then he would pull out sadness, and then he would pull out happiness, and then he would pull out just every single emotion you could possibly experience. He was able to do this with this, and it was just incredible to watch. It was something that it was just incredible. And knowing that Dr. Hart has all this knowledge, what became aware to me at that point is the tremendous amount of weight on his shoulders, because he has so much information that could help so many people. It's just incredible, and I'd like to help with that in any possible way I could. Hopefully this will be a start of it, and but James Hart, I'd like to thank Dr. Hart very, very much. He's a man I love very much, and he's an angel across the board. I mean, as much as you could possibly be an angel in the physical, I mean, that's James Hart. It's unbelievable. Then Drunvalo Melchizedek. I never even knew who Drunvalo was in the dimension I came from. And then in this dimension, I met three different versions of Drunvalo. And one version I was in a public place, I'm not going to mention where, but I was in a public place, and I just walked in and I felt someone looking at me. So I look over, and it was a very young version of Drunvalo, a very young doppelganger, maybe around 30, and he was glowing, and he was glowing like a light bulb. It was incredible, and yeah, he was glowing like a light bulb. And I looked around, because when I saw this, when I saw him glowing, I thought, wow, he's glowing like this in public. And I think that I was the only one able to see it, because this was a public place. And when I looked around, other people were not freaking out. I mean, I wasn't freaking out because I'm used to seeing stuff like that at this point anyway. But I would have imagined that if other people were to see someone glowing like a light bulb, they would be, they would freak out. But so, I mean, that's just more evidence. I mean, if you're interested in getting enlightened and interested in spiritual development, go to the guy that glows like a light bulb. And that's taking very complex information and putting it down in common sense, and that's what I'm trying to do here. So, and then Michael Salla from the Exopolitics Institute. I met him in this dimension, and I believe he became an angel. And it was spectacular seeing Michael Salla. And I knew I was going to see him. I was just wondering when. And Jesse Ventura, I met Jesse Ventura in this dimension. And Jesse Ventura, I mean, I've been following Jesse Ventura since I was like 3 years old, or ever since I can remember when he was doing wrestling, and then watched him progress throughout his life. And in this dimension, I believe he became an angel, but extremely. I mean, if you think the Jesse Ventura that you know is a badass, if you looked at the doppelganger I saw of him, I mean, just incredible. And he didn't say that. He was sitting there, and he just went like this, and but it was just incredible. I have to thank Jesse Ventura specifically for everything that he's done, and the help that he's giving to the human race to wake up humanity. It's just, I think he's simply doing everything right. And I met Kid Rock in this dimension. When I met him, Kid Rock was really, it was awesome to meet Kid Rock, because when I met him, I said, "Kid Rock, right?" And then he just kind of looked at me and smiled, and we cheersed our beers together, and that was really a spectacular thing. Kid Rock, I mean, extremely down to earth, really, really cool guy. Freddie Mercury, in the dimension that I came from, Freddie Mercury passed, but in this dimension, Freddie Mercury is very much alive, and it was spectacular. I mean, the circumstances could have been a little bit better that I met him under, but it was really spectacular to see him. And then Stephen Greer, the founder of CSETI, Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence. I actually met 3 Stephen Greers, I believe, in this dimension. And the first one I met was a woman, and then 2 other versions of them were men. And Stephen Greer just he went over the top for everything he's done for the human race, and it'll really be nice to see him help lead the planet into a state of world peace. And there's a lot of things I could say, but I have a lot of things to get through. So we'll definitely come back to Stephen Greer. And then Brad Pitt. I met 2 Brad Pitts in this dimension, and in this dimension he was kind of like really refined and like suave and debonair. And then I projected my consciousness to another dimension, and he was completely muscle bound and had long hair and party animal, really cool. And then I met Clint Eastwood in this dimension, and also I met Matt Damon in this dimension. It was really cool meeting Matt Damon. And then Kevin Bacon, I met 2 Kevin Bacons in this dimension. And Uma Thurman, I prayed to Uma Thurman, and Uma Thurman came. And Christina Applegate, I met 3 Christina Applegates in this dimension. And of course she became an angel and a sorceress. Leland Blaine Chapman from that Dog the Bounty Hunter show. I met him in this dimension, and I met him in another dimension. And in this dimension, like, basically what he's doing, he's working in a jail, and his entire family is locked up in the same prison that he works in, just for, whatever. They didn't really, they're nice people, they didn't really do anything wrong, but they're all locked up in jail for paperwork or something. And I don't think he's too happy about that. I think he wants to close the prisons. So we're gonna have to do that. I met one Robin Williams.